Hi, this is DarkFox127 and welcome to another Skyrim Creation Kit tutorial video. I apologise if the video seems a little slow, having a lot of trouble with Camtasia again, but today we are going to be working with mannequins. Those pesky annoying mannequins which are always pretty buggy and glitchy, so I'm going to be running through a few steps of how to create your own, which should actually prevent the sort of duplication thing, whatever you want to call it. Where you duplicate mannequins from like the vanilla game or just ones that you've made and they're screw up. So to get started, you obviously want to load your usual Skyrim update and mod that you're working on, set it as active. Now that 1.8 has finally been sorted, there's no worry with having to revert back to patch 1.7. I'll just mention that. So I'm back at my usual location where I do most of my tutorial stuff now. And we are going to go and type in player house. Put in player house, go to all, and we'll grab ourselves a mannequin. If you get anything moaning, just click yes to all as usual. So we're going to, I think we'll put him in here with Barney Blue. Now, I recommend putting snap to grid on, and I'll show you in a moment why we're not going to pile everything into one place just yet. We're now going to get a X marker heading, so you can put X marker H, should show up, there we go. Now this needs to go over the mannequin like that, but for now we're just going to put that to the side and build everything up around it. Next thing what we want to do is click on your mannequin, make sure you're selected, and then you want to go to this button up here. It's a box with a T in it. A lot of people might not be able to quite make that out depending on your screen resolution, but it's that box just there next to the nav mesh one. Press that and you'll get a little box show up. Type in MANN and there's only one option then, and that's mannequin activate trigger. Click OK and it should put a nice trigger around the mannequin. Now don't worry about having to resize this to go over his arms or anything, that should just work fine there. And I'm following a set of instructions that I've written down here because this is quite a confusing process, so you'll have to just follow it really carefully. Yep, right. Mannequin. Right. So you want to try and select your mannequin. If you can't select your mannequin here, then just type it in here, player house mannequin. You'll be able to sort of right click and edit it on there. But I've managed to grab them here. Like I said, if you don't resize that, then you can grab the arm to get access. Click link reference, double click, select reference, and X mark. So we're just linking this up to the X marker. And next up, you want to go along to the Activate Parents tab. Click Parent Activate Only, double click, select reference, and select the trigger this time. OK. Okay, then you should get a nice little arrow show up there. Now we've got to do it the other way. We've got to go X marker heading, we've got to link reference, double click, select reference and select your mannequin. So try and grab him by the arm there. If you're having trouble actually selecting your mannequin, what you can do before you do that step is click on this little trigger here. Tap the number 1 on your keyboard twice and it'll actually hide that, and if you want to be able to get back to it, you can actually sort of manage to get it to show in that menu again by double clicking on it. Because if you click off it and then use the selecting thing, then if you do that and you can't grab back hold of the thing you can't see anymore, then you can find it in here and force that. So that's a nice little tip there. Next. Yep, the trigger up next. Go back on your trigger and we need to go to the first tab, I think, or the second. That's it, second tab. Click player activation and OK. This basically means that obviously the player can activate it, so you go up and should get the option. Now we just need to place all this together, and if you've got snap to grid on, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier, and then you can move your mannequin to where you want after that. So make sure you select everything. A lot of mannequins you see a base on sort of thing. so you can build one yourself and put that in after, but that's not essential, so we're just going to be dumping him in the corner here. Oh, what an interesting thing it appears to have done. Just the kit to select everything. Seems to have mucked about with the trigger there. We'll try that again. Christ. Here's the problem you'll have when you're trying to select half a dozen things. Okay, we're just going to leave him where he is because we're having a lot of trouble with the creation kit again. So, once we've got him stood there, hopefully he won't move. And this is the next thing I'm going to show you. The problem that people have with mannequins, I think there's two major issues. The first issue I can probably help you out with, which is what I'm going to show you now. The second issue, cross your fingers. The first issue is that they keep moving around. You're going to sell for the first time, your mannequin's there, everyone's happy, it's like, hey, there's my mannequin, put my stuff on. You'll leave the sale, you'll come back at a sale or two later, or just later on the game, and your mannequin would have wandered off to the kitchen for something to eat. What the hell's he doing? He's meant to be a mannequin. Well, Bethesda decided to do mannequins in the most awkward way by actually making them an actual NPC, but putting a sort of script on it, on the NPC, to stop them from moving, but they seem to slightly ignore that and go ahead and do it anyway. So what most people do is they actually write their own script that actually works and do it that way. And one person's actually uploaded a mod that can do this for you and fix mannequins in the game, but it tends not to work with your mods. So if someone makes a mod, it doesn't tend to take effect on the mod and tends to make it worse. So if writing the script's out of the question, then all I can recommend here to stop them moving about is that we put a little nav mesh island around them. Now it's actually going to be pretty awkward for me because I've sort of nav meshed this how I want it, but just make sure wherever your mannequin is, he's got his own little nav mesh of island, so we don't connect it here. So if you don't know how to do any nav mesh, I'll leave a link in the description to my other nav mesh tutorial and follow that, but it's not that difficult. So we want to make sure our grid snapping's off. But just put him on his own little nav mesh island, and in case you don't know what nav mesh is, it's what NPCs use to navigate the world. So they have to go along nav mesh. So as you can tell, what's actually being done here is you're sticking him on his own nav mesh that doesn't link to anything else. So technically he shouldn't be able to go anywhere else, which has tended to do the trick for me in my Corinthia Tower mod. Don't know if I mentioned it. The second thing is that people are saying they've left things on mannequins, armours and stuff, come back a week later and the kit's gone and sold them. Or basically they're not there. I haven't actually had that myself, and I haven't tested it on custom mannequins, so you'll have to get back to me on that if anybody has them problems, but I won't be able to help with that. That's really just another creation kit thing. So like I said with the duplication bug thing, you're better off making each of your mannequins on their own. I know it's going to be pretty annoying if you're making like 8 mannequins like I have. I've done about 6, but do them each individually. So less of the yabbering on and bug moaning. The next thing that you want to do to sort of stop them from resetting, going about the place, is you can set an encounter zone to your actual cell. Encounter zones are sort of to do with the respawning of enemies, and a lot of the time I think they're used in sort of cave setups where you want enemies to respawn and be leveled to a certain level. So I'm going to need an encounter zone for this interior cell. So as you can see, it says encounter zone here and there's a whole selection of them. So we want to go into world data, if we'll ever find it. There it is. Encounter zone, wipe out our filter, and then we want to alternate click and new, and we want to give it an ID. So I'm going to call it mannequin encounter zone because it's his fault that we're making one. Now you can ignore most of this, maximum level and minimum level. I think you can pretty much leave all this if memory serves, and location. The main thing that we want to do is never reset. Click that little box there to never reset, so it's basically not going to refresh the NPCs within the actual cell, meaning our mannequin shouldn't actually decide to reset and then wander off somewhere. So that should actually help. You can set this stuff up. You can go on the Creation Kit wiki, I'll leave a link, and you can read a little on encounter zones if you want to actually set it up properly. So Once you've made your encounter zone, I'm just going to confirm that and go back in so it refreshes. You obviously want to set your encounter zone to your actual cell, and he shouldn't really move about now. So the main issue we're having should now be sorted. So we should actually have a fully working mannequin. Let's just see if there's anything else I hadn't noted. Ah, yes. Sometimes mannequins, if they are facing directly north within your cell, they don't work. You go up and the option to place objects on them doesn't appear. And if you just tweak your mannequin slightly, it works. So I don't know why. I don't know if that bug's actually fixed, but I have experienced it once before. I've had a mannequin facing north and it doesn't work. But if I face him in any other direction, he works. So he could be facing... Oh, I could be having the whole mannequin face this way and it doesn't work, and I'll just tweak him to the right a little or the left and he works. So just be aware of that as well if your mannequin doesn't work. So on all that, I think we've actually done, and I can go in game and hopefully our mannequin is working.
Okay, so here we are in game, and as you can see I've actually had to move the mannequin because the thing that I mentioned about not facing the right way, or it facing north and not working, that actually happened. So I've just turned him and it's working again. So I'm just going to put my helmet on him, and as you can see he's working. I'm not going to go and reload the cell or anything to see if he moves. He shouldn't do, but if he does you just have to mess around with it and hope that you can sort of catch lucky. But they do generally now seem to work okay. So I hope you found the video helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Please go and check out all my antisocial websites and my main website, and I will speak to you next time.